Biirai. That's right, Biirai is back. We are going to jump back in to the famous, infamous even, Fanservice Conlang today. But first of all, I'd like to just say hello. How is everyone doing today? Biirai to all of you. It is another Tuesday, and that means that we've got some conlang to do. We've got some world building to do. We got a little bit of both to do today. We got some fun coming up because we are going to take the admittedly sketchy fan service language that we made a few weeks back now, and we're going to develop it. My goal is to make it so that we can actually use it a little bit. Just a little bit of an experiment. So we've got the priorities for today are to get some really basic vocabulary together and to get some basic sentence structures together and to have a bit of fun with the grammar. So that's the thought. There's also a bit of a world building component because we being me, Quain, and Majahadra, we all did a little bit of, we put our noggins together last week and we did a little bit of world building. And I think we have a place for the speakers of Biirai to live. So all of this and more coming up. All right. Goodness gracious. Let's see what the chat says. Biirai, Biirai, Biirai. Things are going well. You know what's happened? I don't know what it's doing by you, but here the weather's cooled off a bit. I can wear black again without, bursting into flames. This is a fun change. We have, I don't know what it's like on the other side of the pond, but I have it on good authority that it's not quite as punishingly hot anymore. So thumbs up for that. And for our Southern Hemisphere friends, bundle up. All right. So I think what I'll do, I'll move around some windows because I want to show you something. Let's see. Got to get into... I want to show you a little bit of a preview of the world building work we've been doing. But to do that, I need to open it up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do the old usual YouTube hello thing, and then we're going to jump right in. YouTube, is that you? Welcome. We are just about to jump into a little bit of world building and a little bit of conlanging about our beloved fan service language. This is the language that basically all of this community, all of our little community has taken part in building, and everyone's name has come in as a little word. So we are going to keep building this so we can essentially meme more in it. That's the plan. So let's scoot over and let's take a look. So I have up here, I have a few things prepared. I have a little word generator according to our Phonotactics. So we can augment the vocabulary if we run out of people's names. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I'll come back to the full screen to say this. If you haven't got your name in this language yet, please just write in the chat and I will incorporate. We will incorporate. And if you have a meaning for your name that you would like, also, please do write it in. And hey, YouTube, if you're watching this at home, write it in the comments, right? We can all get in this language. All right, so back here we go. So here is the absolutely spectacular geographical, climatological, geological work that our very own Majahadra has done for this world. We have 4-ish continents here, and we started to plan out where each of these languages is spoken. Now, this continent, Echo's right. This continent was once a sort of a Pangea-like owl-shaped continent, and then it broke apart over time. So we're talking about the Biirai language here today, and I should show you where it's spoken. All right. So the Biirai language is going to be spoken in this gigantic desert here. This is what we've worked out. So there's going to be a lot of isolation from the outside world, not total, but given that the population density is going to be pretty low, we can explore kind of cool world building deserty things. Okay. So let's echo. Thank you so much for writing that. If you want your name to be added, put that little greater than sign in so that I can see it more easily in the chat. And Max as well. It's got, you guys, you're thinking faster than I am over here. All right. So this is the idea. We have this amazing, cool world building setup, and we're going to need to start populating it with our languages. So Biirai is going to be spoken in and around this area. So with that established, let's go back to the spreadsheet, and let's take a look at the chat, because I think we have some names coming in. We have our lexicon here. These are all the people who've been added so far. Let's see. Okay, what did I miss? We have solar. Okay, I see solar here. So deep solar, and we're going to have something like, now we should look at the Phonotactics just for a second, just before we add anything in, so you know what the rules of the game are. So we have this syllable structure, this really interesting syllable structure, where we can have the syllables have an optional first consonant followed by an optional alveolar tap, and then a long vowel or diphthong. That's one type of consonant, or one type of syllable. So we'd have something like, I don't know, tra, krau, this kind of thing. And the other type of syllable is the same start, optional consonant, optional tap, but then you can have either a short or a long vowel plus a coda. So you could have something like sam, or what would be another example? Mauk. We have a rather restricted inventory, so people's names get adapted in kind of fun ways. Okay. There we go. So let's return. Whoops, that's not relevant for today. And let's see. Oh, you know what? It's a bit hard to read the chat on this background. Let's open up something new, just so that we can see what everyone's saying. Okay, so deep solar is going to come in as, yeah, we could do su. Do we have an L? Let me remember. No, we don't have an L, so maybe surar would work. And oh yeah, that could mean cloudy. That'd be fun. Okay, cool. And let's see. Yeah, Sisinyu could be, we could add a bit of extra here, maybe referring to Sakrat speakers. Because if we go back to the world building, if the Biirai people are in this area, the Sakrat speakers are scattered around the coasts, all of this sort of blue tropical zone here, if you can see that. So they may have some opportunity to come into contact with each other. Okay. All right, so did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. All right, so let's continue. I want to put in, so for those who didn't see the first stream, we essentially randomly selected the inspiration languages for this. So we took a different aspect of the language from all different languages, and these are the ones that we ended up with as our sources. And I think I'd like to revisit some of these and take some grammatical inspiration. So what do we know about the grammar so far? This is a little bit of a catch up. We have VSO order. We have obliques coming after the direct object. We have prepositions. we have noun plus genitive order, we have noun plus adjective order, we have noun plus demonstrative order, but we have numbers going before the noun. So something like 3, what would be 3 wagon those red Collins. Something like Colin's 3, those 3 red wagons of Colin, something like this. Or my, not sure what the exact ordering within the right side of the noun phrase is, but something like this. Let's see, what else do we have? Noun plus relative order, no question particles, initial interrogative phrases for making questions, the subordinator, the I know that, you are here, the that is going to be initial before the clause. We generally have 0 marking and very little affixation. And what will be kind of fun for us to work out today is we have a non-sex-based gender system. We have 5 or more genders. And we have a mixture of semantic and formal gender. So what does that mean? Semantic and formal. Semantic gender is when you have the criteria for what gender, class, and noun belongs to, when that criteria come from some aspect of the meaning of the noun itself. This contrasts with formal-based gender systems, where some aspect of the form of the word determines what gender it falls into. So you might have a rule saying if it ends in a particular vowel, it's going to be in this particular gender system, gender class. And what we're going to have here is a mixture of the two. What else have we decided? We have plural clitics, we have definite articles, we have an indefinite article, and we have perfective, imperfective marking, but no tense. So I think this is a good amount of stuff for us to get through. I'm going to make another one of these so we can easily just get to the second tab. There we go. All right. So lexicon here, there. We should be able to see the chat okay that way. Maybe move this a bit over. Default background for the win. Okay. Phonologically, other stuff. We have fixed initial stress. We have no tone. I saw a question come in about tonal hotspots in the world, and it looks like we have some tonal hotspots in this sort of region here. This is where mi and sasyut are spoken, and I think we actually have the unrelated tonal language quat, which we worked on with Quain recently, is going to be spoken in this area. I think it's on this continent that we decided. In the tropical zone, nevertheless. So we have a tonal hotspot around here. I wish we had names for these places yet. It would make it a lot easier to refer to them other than me pointing the mouse and just sort of waving around saying, this general area. All right. So, yeah, Max, we have like the most unpronounceable by me names for these source languages. I wish Wikipedia had IPA on every article. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This really came to haunt me with this language, which I'm still not really clear on how to pronounce. I may, for the purposes of our, of practicality, give it Jehoan, maybe something like that. I know there are clicks involved, and they're quite complex. Anyway. All right, so I think the consensus in the chat is to work on this grammatical gender system right now, because I see people enjoying coming up with ideas. I'm excited about this. Let's do it. So we need to figure out what our gender system is going to be based on. We know that it is non-sex based, so we can rule that out right away. We know that it has some aspect of semantics and some aspect of word form being considered. I think we should work on the semantic part first and then layer on some exceptions having to do with the form of the word. I see base it on Tamil. Okay. All right, we could do that. Let's look at a resource, shall we? So let's get a new tab. No. Wikipedia. Tamil language. Let's see how the Tamil gender system works. The language doesn't have a name yet, Echo, but I've just been calling it Biirai for the time being because that's what everyone knows. Biirai means stars, weight, and also it's the second person singular pronoun. Yeah, dark Wikipedia. This is the gritty reboot of Wikipedia. All right. So let's see. We wanted to look at morphology. So I think this is what people were excited about. Tamil nouns. Is this big enough? Do I need it to be a bit bigger? Okay, there we go. Tamil nouns and pronouns are classified into two superclasses, the rational and the irrational, which include a total of 5 classes. Humans and deities are classified as rational, and all other nouns are irrational. Okay, this is really cool. The rational nouns and pronouns belong to one of 3 classes, masculine singular, feminine singular, and rational plural. All right, we'll have to change that because we've already ruled out sex-based gender systems. The irrational nouns and pronouns belong to one of 2 classes, irrational singular and irrational plural. All right, so we could have, as our first distinction, we could use something like rational versus irrational. This is good. It's a good start. And what else? Yeah. What would the Biirai people be writing on? That's a good question. We are in a hot desert in the world building map, we can see. So what do we have access to in a hot desert? Well, we might have something like papyrus if there's a river running through it at some point. Something to think about. Biirai for perfect rather than real. Ooh. Stars, wait, let's just keep stacking up more meanings onto this. Writing in sand, carving it into sandstone, ink on papyrus, that could work. Although I don't think we're thinking of a big river delta style civilization because this is an interior desert. Where is it? Here we are. So I imagine, little settlements around oases, perhaps. Something like that. Maybe an extensive trade network. I don't know. All right. So we have rational and irrational. Maybe we can use this idea of having subclasses like we have in Tamil and just change what those subclasses are. So what could they be? Well, we could do something like what I thought Tamil was going to do, which was humans and deities are classified as rational and all other nouns, animals, objects, abstract nouns as irrational. So maybe these can be our 5 genders. Humans, deities, animals, objects, and abstract nouns. That could be the very first. So those could be the first attempt at the system. But because this is a mixed formal semantic system, it's not going to be the end of the story. So you might think, as a naive student of Biirai, that the gender of a noun would be purely based on whether it actually falls into these classes or not. But this is not so. This is not so. Because there could be animals which take the deity marking for some reason. There could be objects which take the human marking for some reason. Maybe these reasons are semantic, but maybe there's something cultural going on there. But maybe it's just because it has a particular ending, and then you always give that ending to the human gender. So rather than call it the deity gender, the human gender, we could just call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is associated with deities. This is with humans. This is with animals. This is with objects and abstract. Okay. Given that we don't have a lot of inflection on this language, this gender system is probably going to come out in the pronoun system. So what I'm thinking, we might have some kind of elaborate, maybe not elaborate, but more elaborate than non-existent, some sort of politeness or honorification system. So if we have the first person pronoun used when speaking to someone lower on the rationality scale, realistically, this would probably only, you're not often speaking to abstract objects, but there would be something like a first-person pronoun that the human uses when speaking to a deity, the first-person pronoun a human uses when speaking to an animal, maybe something like that. So we have a first going up, a first staying, on the level, so speaking to another person, and a first speaking to an animal. And then we would also have second. Actually, the first can't. Oh, yeah, they can. Second speaking up. So you honored one, you equal one, and you lower one. And then the third person pronouns would be third of the, this is going to be hard. Let's say A, B, C, D, E. So the third person would have an A, third person have a B, C, D, E. So this would be he, she, it of gender A. This would be he, she, it of gender B, and so on. Or he, she, it, they. Because I don't think we have plural marking yet. Something like this. Bit hard to see. Let's go over here. There we go. And it would just be, and so on and so on and so on. Okay. So, what do we have so far? We have a few pronouns we've actually made decisions on. And so let's place them into this system. So we have Biirai, which is a second person pronoun. Let's say this is the second person pronoun for someone higher. So second person going up, Biirai, maybe this means perfect. The perfect one, that's etymologically where it comes from. And maybe the stars are considered perfect and that's why they have the same word. Who knows? There's some potential there though. So let's say this is the second person honorific. How are we going to make a chart? We need to make a chart here. So neutral, honorific. I don't know what we call the one that's talking down. I don't want to say dishonorific. All right. Yes, Isinyu, I agree. Biirai as second singular could mean your perfectness. Okay. It's not particularly, it's not informal. This is a distinction. So informal, well, I guess it depends on how you consider formal. Because you could be in an informal situation with a societal equal, or a formal situation with a societal equal. You know, and those, they sort of cut across each other. Let's do super. So above, below. This is the idea. Above, across, below. That, I think, should do it. And then we have 1, 2. And then we have, for the third, we just have A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, okay. And let's start filling it in. So Biirai is 2 above. This is like, it's a bit ambiguous because if I say 2 above, does that mean the 2 is above, like the person that this person that you're speaking to is above you? Anyway, that's what I mean. Biirai 2 above means that the person that you're addressing with Biirai is above you in the great chain of rationality. Let's see. Chorizo says, what about ira or something being an affix for greater or more? Ooh, that's cool. So maybe this is like an augmentative. It's an augmentative. Comes from Biirai. Augmentative, or maybe like an honorific. Something like that. Like Japanese san or something like that. Ira. Ira does fit the phonotactics because the initial consonant is optional. Okay, so we have Biirai. What else do we have? We have Colin, the second person plural form. So if we're not distinguishing between singular and plural, we could turn this into just the across form. Colin. So we could say 2 above, 2 across, and what else do we have? We have Satan. And I think Satan has to be 1 below. So this is what the gods would say to the to humans. This is what humans would use to say to address animals and objects. Do we have any other? No, we don't. Okay. So let us continue. So we need to create some more for these missing cells, and then we need to create some for the different genders of noun. So we need an A, a B, a C, a D, and an E. So let's see if we can generate some stuff. Let's try to do this. So I don't think we should have very long things for all of these pronouns. Maybe maximum 2 syllables. So here are some examples. We have do, I'm just write them down here. Nan, ram, rai, gaur, ak, wak, ri, bai. All right, so those are some decent ones. This is a word generator called Gengo, Gengo, and it's pretty decent. It's, I don't remember exactly. I think I recommended it. I wrote an article on word generators a while back, and it was one of the ones that I looked at, and I thought, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay. World building chat. What's going on? Okay, I'm catching up here. Yeah, Cecilio is saying, perhaps for first person, the pronoun changes depending on the level of the second person. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So if you're speaking to those you consider lower than you on the chain of rationality, the great chain of being, then you use Satan. Otherwise, you would use something else. You would use maybe the humble. We could think of these as humble, neutral, and proud. Something like that. Yeah, they could definitely write on palm leaves. If there were palms in those little oases, that's a good, like date palms, or I don't know. I'm not as well versed on the ecology of the situation, but it stands to reason, doesn't it? Okay. So I think we need to fill out our pronouns. I think what we should do is have the pronouns come from words, be somewhat recognizably derived from the word for person, animal, things like, object, deity, but be, a bit related, but a bit not. So let's see if we have anything here. We have, do we have person? We have person, right? Yeah, Jan. So maybe Jan is the third person pronoun as well for class B. Let's see if we have anything else. Do we have a word for deity or God? Doesn't look like it. I think we need to assign a name for the word for God. And this is going to be someone's getting the word for God on their name for deity. But who's it going to be? Let's leave it in suspense. Let's take a little break for YouTube. Come back next time, YouTube. We're going to see who among our community is getting to be the word in this language for deity. And then by extension, the source of the pronoun that is used for the deity gender A. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next time. Ba-ba-da-ba. And we will see you back here on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. All right. Chat. We are... I'm seeing things come in. See-through. So this comes from Cicero. That's awesome. Zairida. Who's Zairida? Zelda. Yeah, there's some strong deity potential there. Letter critic. You don't have a meaning yet? Where is yours? Where is yours? Am I missing it? I don't see it. Letter critic, tell me if I've written it down under a different name. Okay, let's see. Minki Patui Aiparsun. Miriam. Okay, so we need some names here. Zelda, Miriam, Teluta. Teluta would have to come out as something like Tairuta. Something like that. Here, I'll just show you what I'm doing. And yeah, Lucy. Do we have Lucy in here already? Yeah, we do. Rusi. It means eat. So that's taken. Yeah, we've got a super tiny vowel inventory here. Okay. You need to see the inventory here. Here you go. Maybe take a print screen of that. Hang it up on your wall. Okay. All right. I am going to now go back and we'll welcome back YouTube and we'll do some more. I have a cool idea for how the pronouns are going to work. I'll show you in a sec. Okay. YouTube, welcome back. We are about to jump back into the Biirai language and we are about to complete the pronoun system and start to write some little sentences, I think. I think that's probably a good plan, don't you? Let's scoot over in and let's see what we have. We don't have a velar nasal. Quanti asks, do we have the ng sound? We don't have it, although I would imagine if you have the coronal nasal before a velar, it would assimilate. So that's roughly the state of affairs in that part of the mouth. Sparsh, we have been working on the pronoun system of the Biirai Fanservice language. Okay, so we've established that so we have 5 genders. To catch up those who are watching newly on YouTube as well, this is pretty useful. We have 5 genders that proceed down a scale. There's a kind of a hierarchy in terms of how rational they're considered. And so we've taken a little bit of a page out of Tamil's book in dividing nouns into rational and irrational. And then within each of these broad categories, we've invented new distinctions. So we have deities and humans in the rational supergender, and animals, objects, and abstract nouns in the irrational supergender. And essentially what happens is, for the first and second person pronouns, if you're talking to a noun, or you're talking to a thing whose gender is above on this hierarchy of rationality, then you use a particular form. If you're talking to someone who is below, and realistically this would be when a god is speaking to a human, or a human is speaking to an animal, then you would use this below form. So currently we have in the second person pronouns, we have two kinds. We have the kind used when talking to someone who's above you in the chain of rationality. So you would use biirai in that case, which derives perhaps from a word meaning perfect. If you're talking to someone who's equal to you in the hierarchy of rationality, you would use kaurin. And if you are talking for them, you would use kaurin for them. So you would say, how are biirai? How are you, biirai? if you're talking to a god. If you're talking to another person, you would say, how are you? And you would be counting, something like that. And and for the first person, we have a form for below. So this is when you're speaking to those that are below you on the hierarchy of rationality. And I know that sounds a bit weird. It is what it is. So, and then you use the form saatan, which has a fascinating etymology. All right. So that's where we are. And we just need to fill in the blanks. We also have third person forms, one for each gender. We've only put in yan for the gender B, which refers to in which all humans go. And so this is just the word for a person. So I think we need to take the plan is basically to take words, lexical words that mean something like deity, human, or deity, person, animal, and then use those as the basis for the pronoun. The idea is that they would be reduced forms of the actual word, in some cases at least. So maybe... So we needed one for God. I think based on the phonological characteristics, I would love for the word for deity to start with z. I think, I see Thomas is of the same mind. So, and I think because we did have Zelda say there's no meaning assigned, we can put in deity here. So, no, don't let it go to your head. But there it is. And then we could have zai be the pronoun. Sisru could be the third person humble, or the third person or the second person, because we don't distinguish humility when we're referring to the different third person pronouns, only in the first and second, because only in the first and second is there an addressee speaker relationship. Zai is already an article. Interesting. Well, looks like we have some homophony. That's going to be fun. Can sawi be either a humble or proud pronoun? Sure. Let's make it into... We can have it be the first humble. Sawi. Now. Echo's asking for now as a word for the language. Yeah, let's put in now as... Maybe it's one of these... It's gender D or E. Now, like that. Oh, can now be first across? Sure. Sawi now, Satan, Biirai, Kaurin, and we... Okay. Moon Truther's asking, shouldn't there be no A1 humble? So the first and second persons do not distinguish gender explicitly. There's no gender for first. There's no pronoun for gender A in the first person. All you care about in the first person is your relationship, the relationship between you and the addressee. So that means there's always the potential of being humble. A god would never use sawi. A god would always use now or satan, depending on if the god's speaking to gods or anything else. Excuse me there. A brief hydration break. Well, hello, Lucy. Welcome to the chat. All right. So, let's continue. I don't know why I deleted all those forms. It was probably silly of me. Oops. Okay, we need a few more pronouns here. What do we have? We have siyuri for owl. Maybe we derive the animal pronoun from that, si. So zai yan si. And then for objects, I'm content to just take from the generator here because it's not super clear how we would. Maybe something like do for D, and for abstract nouns, nan. So we have zai, yan, si, du, nan. All right. Chorizo is, yeah, may I be able to suggest another schwash? Yeah, we could try and adapt that. I also saw a suggestion in here. So let's, how are we going to adapt that? Louse. Oh my goodness. Using the word for louse as the second, you louse. Oh, that's amazing. That's, this this language is getting crazy. Okay. Okay, so let's catch up on a few things. I hope I haven't missed anyone's names as things have been coming by. Magnus. So we need to, I've put in things that I've seen from the chat, but I haven't yet caught up on all of them. So Magnus, we need an adaptation. Let's go to the phonology. Let's see what we can do. So we have m, we have a, we have k, we have mak. We could do maknasi. That would work. Maknasi. Or maknusi. Maknus. I think that might be a bit better. Maknusi. Oh yeah, there is a G. What am I doing? Magnusi. Excellent. Magnas doesn't work because we don't allow S in the coda. All right. Echo's asking, can we have stim included into this language as well? Sure, let's do that and have it mean movement. All right, so how would we do that? If we want stim, we could do sitim. I think it would be sitim because we can't have that cluster st. Ah, yes, but we don't allow G in the coda. That's why it's maknusi. Ah, okay, I had some thought. I had some thought behind that, even though I didn't recognize it myself. Yeah, and you're absolutely right that sisiru, we need this E in here. Actually, no, we don't technically need it because it could break as sisru. Because we have this ra allowed in the coda, in the onset, branching onset. Sisru. Right. We could do maganusi for Magnus. That's true as well. If Magnus, if you prefer the maknusi or maganusi, let me know. Is sra filtered? Oh yeah, I did filter sra here. That's not necessarily, I just didn't want to see any sra at the time. It's not a grammatical restriction necessarily. Just something I was thinking about. I'm happy to have sre, sisru. Okay. All right. Echo's asking, can it be movements plural? Let's see. We have a plural clitic. Maybe it can be like the abstract idea of movement, not a particular movement. Whatever it is, it will definitely be in gender E. Oops. I mean, gender is probably the wrong word for this system, but let's say noun class. And C, noun class. And let's put it into E. And I realize that I have put this in the wrong spot. Okay. There we go. Thomas, you're still trying to figure out the syllable structure. Yeah, I can identify. So essentially what it is, you can have a long vowel or diphthong as the nucleus. You can also have a short vowel plus coda as the nucleus. You can also have a long vowel plus coda as the nucleus. So there are, maybe it's easier, it's a little less confusing to write it like this. There we go. So the square brackets around this means that you have to choose one of these. And the angle brackets here, or sorry, in the parentheses here mean that you can optionally choose one of these. This is accurate. For the plural forms of the pronouns, could we fix the plural clitic? Too many L's and R's in that sentence. The plural clitic, yes. I think that's what we could do. Maybe ira could be the plural clitic as well. Maybe instead of an honorific, it could be the plural clitic. So you could do something like yanira for they, humans. Yeah, I kind of like that. And you have correctly identified the utter lack of paying attention to the syllable structure that I have been engaged in recently. So thank you, Thomas. So plural and a sort of honorific. Yeah, something like that. Because the notion of plural and honorification are quite tightly tied in some languages, at least. Okay, so we have a pronoun system here. Let's see what else we can do. So we have a VSO language. And one thing that I was thinking of doing is having separate, we're going to stay on pronouns. See-through, thank you. Minki. And this one I haven't adapted yet. Patu could be patui. Sisinyu. Thank you to all of you for keeping me honest with the syllable structure. So I was thinking we could, sticking with the pronoun situation, we could have two types of pronouns. We could have independent and dependent. And what's the difference between these pronouns? Independent pronouns are used in isolation. Well, maybe it's easier to start with dependent. Dependent pronouns are used after a verb, so as the subject, and as a possessor. This is just something that happens in some languages, and I thought it'd be cool to include here. Specifically, I got the idea from one of our sources, Mishtek. I thought that was going to show the part of this article that has the pronoun. Here you go. So here you have the independent and the dependent pronouns. And you can see that where is it? The dependent forms are used when a pronoun follows a verb or when it follows a noun. So verb as a subject, noun as a possessor. So that's when we use the dependent forms. And I think what the dependent forms would be just really reduced forms of the full forms. So these would all be the full forms of the pronouns. And then we could have something like sawi go to we. Now would just be now. Satan could be tan. Sawi. Biirai could be rai. Kaurin could be rin. And tim would be tim. And keep in mind that these are clitics, so actually we should use the clitic separator. So yeah, then diachronically, maybe the dependent forms eventually derive into verb conjugations. So I've essentially taken the second syllables of these, but we don't have to. I think Cicinho is giving us a good suggestion that we could actually go brai for this one. And we could do, maybe we could take this needs an extra maybe we could take the first syllable and the last vowel, so si, san, keen, maybe. This is just making it up and having fun. I don't know that any language does that particular thing. But why not, right? And then these could stay the same. So then if this is the case, let's try out a verb. Let's try out a little sentence. Okay, so let's use the verb sitim. Sitim, actually I've said it's a noun here. If perhaps we have a free category language, I think that might make some sense. So a noun, any given root is not necessarily a verb or a noun or an adjective, a verb or a noun, let's say. Let's not talk about adjectives yet, if at all. And it's just the context in which that root occurs that tells you whether it's being used adjectively or nominally. All right, so given that, we would have a verb like sitim, meaning move. And then if we wanted to say I move, we would have to make a decision. Are we being humble, neutral, or proud? If we're being neutral, then we say sitim now. And this would be I move. How about that? Change the keyboard. And then we could also, I know we don't have a lot of affixation in this language, but one thing I saw from the, what's it called? From the Jehoan language is that there is a little transitive marker. It's a bit small. There's a little transitive marker that I kind of like. I think we should use it. So maybe if you want to say, to make move into a transitive verb, you could do something like sitim an. So this is making it transitive. I move you. I make you move, essentially. So then we have sittiman now, and then you. Interesting. I just realized something. This is kind of cool. If you're using now, then you have to use counting for the other person. If you're using sawi, then you have to use team for the other person. Or did I get that backwards? Yeah. No, if you're using satan, then you have to use team. If you're having sawi, you have to use... wait, no, I'm confusing myself. How does it work? If you are using sawi, you are being humble. So then you would have to use biirai. So essentially you have to stay in one column in any given interaction. So sitiman now kaurin. So we can shorten this to tr to newt. All right, so we have two sentences here. Sittim now, I move. Sittiman now kaurin. I move you. And it's this an which allows move to take an object. Maybe there are some roots which by default do not take objects. These are sort of intransitive, what's it called? Intransitive roots. And then there are some that do take an object by nature, and then you have to put a morpheme on them to make them not take an object. Let's take a little break here, because I notice the light has changed and I've got to make an adjustment. So, YouTube, thank you for joining us. Let's keep developing this language. This is a lot of fun. We'll see you next time. Okay, 1 second. I will biirai. Okay. All right. That's adjusted now. That looks good. How is everyone doing? Did the screen freeze again? Oh, it froze on blank. You know, it's like it's kind of like a gamble. Every time we put that on, is it going to freeze? And then where is it going to freeze? It would be really sad if it goes to Biirai or Bir and then it freezes. That's like when you're playing Wheel of Fortune and you roll the thing around and it goes and it's about to give you a lot of money and then it goes bankrupt and then luck of the draw. Okay. So okay, Echo is asking about the sheet link. So the sheet link is available. This is an excuse for me to do a little plug. The sheet link is something that comes on Patreon. So if you are supporting the channel on Patreon, there is a link to the sheet in there where you can jump in and see what we're doing and copy it off and make your own descendant languages and things. This particular language sheet is an exception because it's, you know, for the whole community. It's not gated on Patreon like the other ones are. So this one is available in the Discord. For those of you on there, you can jump in and check out and use the language to your heart's content. So there we are. I think it's time for us to create some more sentences because I'm really kind of liking the vibe of this language. There is, yeah, so do we have yeah, it's in pinned posts on the general channel in Patreon. If you are not on there, check it out. And you can see this language that we're making together and, you know, you can use it. My hope is that we can have little conversations in it one day. That's maybe that's ambitious, but I think it's possible. All right, so I'm gonna say hello to YouTube again, and we can jump right back in. There's always a moment, YouTube, when you look at your life and you say, yes, I'm doing the right thing because I'm making conlangs with a bunch of people on the internet. And for me, that moment is now. So let's make our lives better and let's conlang together, shall we? Let's scoop me over into the, oh wait, I just remembered. I have to thank some people. You can never avoid thanking people. Or you can never really thank people enough, is what I should say. Patreon. The amazing people on Patreon have really made this possible. So I'd like to thank them here. And other than that, I'm going to just scoot on in, zoop, over to the side, and here we are. Let's go. So we have our first few sentences in this language. I move, si tim now, and I move you, si timan now kaurin. What's going on here? So first of all, we have the root meaning to move, which is si tim. We then have a cliticized pronoun, which we've glossed as one newt. What does this mean? This is the neutral pronoun now. Now is used when you're talking to someone who is on the same level in the great chain of being, the 5 noun classes of this language, which go from A to E. If you're a human talking to another human, you are on the neutral plane with respect to each other. You're speaking across, and so you use now and kaurin. If you are a human speaking to a deity, you would use sawi and biirai or biirai. If you are a human speaking to an animal or an object, you would use satan and tim as your pronouns. So satan first, and you would refer to the animal as tim. All right. So that's what's going on here. So we have si tim now. This implies that I'm saying this to another person. Si tim now, I move. Then we have the second sentence, si timan now kaurin. So what's going on here? We have 2 forms for each of the first and second person pronouns. One is the independent form, which is used basically everywhere except for where the dependent is used. Where's the dependent used? It is used after a verb, so as the subject. So subject of verb or possessor of noun. So here, because now is the subject of the verb in both of these, we use the cliticized form, the dependent form, sitim now, sitiman now. We use the independent form for the object of the verb, kaurin. So we get kaurin instead of keen. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Yes, so far I believe we are sticking with nominative accusative alignment for the proto-language. Or at least for this language, this is going to be the ancestor of some future languages and the descendant of some past languages. We are not sure where it fits in the timeline yet. Although we do know, for those of you who haven't seen this yet, we do know where in the world it fits. It is spoken somewhere in this big red zone here, which is a big hot desert in the middle of this continent. So this is the homeland of this language. Let's scoot back over here. Sitim now, sitiman now kaurin. There's one more thing to talk about, which is this suffix an, which is used because the root sitim on its own, it's an intransitive root. It doesn't take an object, so if you want it to be able to take an object, you have to suffix this an to it. So sitiman now kaurin. And those are the first two sentences in the language. We did have a little sentence that we started before, the Biirai sentence. Let's see what we can make of this. We have to change one or two things. So this means you await the 10 plus stars. The only thing that we'll need to change is, instead of saying biirai, we'd say biirai, brai. Biirai, brai, biirai, biirai. Biirai, brai, biirai, biirai. And that is good. Okay, let's keep going. So there are some roots which are like sitim, which are on their own, they're intransitive. So this means to move, movement. And as a noun, it would be in class E because it's an abstract noun. What else do we have? We need something that's by default transitive. Let's see, do we have any? Protect, audi. So if we wanted to say, I protect you, actually, to be honest, await is also a good example. Let's stick with await for a second. So if you just want to say you are waiting, how would we do that? We'd use this biirai again. But we need to attach something else to biirai, another suffix, which is like a detransitivizing suffix. What could we use for that? So we used an for the transitivizer. Maybe we could use something like biirai. What do we have? Something with S maybe. I want a little us. Is. I think is. Biirais. Biirais brai. So this is an intransitivizing suffix that's used on roots that are by default transitive. Okay, so we have a few sentences here. Sitim now, sitiman now kaurin. Biirai brai, biirai biirai. Biirai sprai. Oh no, but we can't have is. No, we can't. Ugh. I've done it again to myself, haven't I? Maybe eat then. Biirait brai. And maybe on its own, when it's after a vowel, we lose that e. Biirait, biirait brai. And then we have our our little bit extra biirait. Okay, Chorizo asks, could this language feasibly be an abjad? Yeah, I think it could be. It definitely could be. I could see that working. Echo's asking, could adding modifiers to sitim, like a word for hand to specify hand movement, like a prefix? Oh, interesting. Yeah, this is like this came up on Friday, didn't it? This kind of idea, something like this, sort of like a determinative that says what type of movement in this case. Yeah, maybe it would be something kind of like noun incorporation. So we need a word for hand. Do we have a word for hand yet? No. All right, well, we need a word for hand, that's for sure. We have a few words that are hanging out here without names. Minki can be hand. Oh, I like that. Okay, minki. Do we have an etymology for minki? I want to make sure that it gets put down here in case we do. So then what would I move my hand? What would that look like? It could look something like this. So minki sitim now. Minki sitim now. I kind of like that. Oops, I forgot an I on here. Minki sitim now. Foot can be papa. Very good. So then we would have something like papa sitim now. I move my foot. Papa sitim now. The only question is, would we need to transitivize these in order to give them the object? That's an interesting question. I think if this is manner incorporation, okay, I need to do some Googling. That's not what I was hoping for. This is one of the papers that I was looking at for the Let's Read Together, Let's Research. Research with me, that was what it was called. Verb-based restrictions. So let's see if this tells us about manner. Oh, this is awesome. Te fiesta mi iban. All right, so I think then we will not need... I'm just thinking about this because Max just pointed out, what would I move it with my hand be? And it actually, this is manner incorporation. This is an object incorporation. So you would do something like minkisitama now, and then it. What kind of it? Maybe an inanimate object. That would be do. So we have this really great sentence, min kisi timman now do. Why is the Sparsh is asking why is the object affixing before the verb? Shouldn't it affix after, since the language is verb initial? I think in noun incorporation, usually you get it showing up before the verb. I would have to defer to those who have researched that specifically. But VSO languages are typically analyzed as, or I don't want to say typically. VSO languages are often analyzed as underlyingly SVO languages that have had the verb move up to the front. And if in noun incorporation the object also moves up with the verb, then you get this object verb or noun incorporated verb first. Yeah. So minkisitim would be interpreted as I move using my hand. So it's the hand that moves. Okay. Quanti, yes. Okay, thank you. That's what I was waiting for. I missed that on the first round, and I was hoping to hear who had suggested it again. And if I've missed anyone else, please let me know, and I will fix it. Although technically this is meant to be sort of like the etymology of the word. I'll put this down here. So I'm assuming Minky doesn't come from Quanti, but I'll put in suggested by. And maybe sitim, maybe we would make it so sitim is not sayable on its own. It always has to have some sort of a manner incorporated body part. Maybe that would be kind of cool. That's something to think about. Okay. Moving on. I move it with my hand. What else do we want to do? I think I wanted to add some... I wanted to do an example sentence with auri. So let's play with our pronouns a little bit more. Let's say this is a god speaking to humans. I will protect you. So we would need the proud set. So Satan, San, and team. So protect is auri. Sorry, the stress in this language should be initial, but my mind is having a hard time with it, especially with these long vowels. So auri san. This is protect one. Let's say proud. You, team. And if we wanted to make this plural, we would use auri-san timira. Auri-san timira. And we don't have tense in this language, we have aspect. So we get something like this. Auri-san timira. I will protect you. Oh yeah, I like that idea. So we have a verb to move, which is manner, and then we'd have a verb to move in a direction. I wonder what that would be. Quanti is asking, can we have a suffix for living things and a suffix for non-living things? I think this gets into a really interesting thing that we have not done yet, which is we had said that our gender system is going to be semantic and formal. So far, we've only looked at semantic. So let's look at formal gender. How could we make this gender system a little bit formal? Okay, this means we have to pay attention to some aspect of the noun. Maybe anything that ends in I gets attracted to gender A, or anything that ends in E gets attracted to gender C. That could be a potential angle. So even though you're not an animal, if you end in E, like sui si, then you're going to be put into gender C just because you have that E ending. Maybe something like that. Or if you get the honorific marker on you, then you automatically go into A, into the gods. So let's see if we can use. Okay, we have the word for songbird, fine. So songbird, and here we're using ira as an honorific. The songbird, what else? Marinuk. Sing. So we have Marinuk bainira. So now this fact that this has ira on it means that it goes into gender A. Although how do we express this? Oh, I know what we could do. We could use let's say our sentence is, you sing, songbird, honored songbird. So then we would have something like, to humble, because we have ira on the songbird, it's migrated all the way up into gender A, or noun class A, which means that we have to then use this brai as the pronoun. So you sing, and because we are a mere human, then we will use brai before the songbird, which has now gone into noun class A. Does that make any sense whatsoever? I don't know. All right. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the chat now. We have suggestions for prisu, for the movement. I'm also going to put in pransik and bilastu, although I think we have to go to birasitu. Dangerously close to biirai there. Birasitu. Okay. Max is asking, can we have some words or phrases that reference like hydrate and stretch? Yeah, sure. Let's see if we can adapt hydrate and stretch. So I hydrate, and stretch would be something like citride, something like citridezy. Hydratan citridezy. Citridezy. Hydratan citridezy. Quanti, we do not have vowel harmony as of this stage of the language. Just, yeah, no vowel harmony yet. We might evolve some in one of the descendant languages of this, of Biirai. I think we can officially call this Biirai now. I think there's really no other contender for the name of this language. There we go. It is now Biirai. So hydrate, I think, should mean something like drink. Is that too transparent? Maybe it could be something like to rest. I always take a break to rest and hydrate and stretch. Or to rest. And then citridezy, what could this be? Here's what I'm thinking. I want hydratan citridezy to be a sentence. We already have this transitivizer here. So transitive. To visit a desert oasis. Okay, I like this. To why don't we have this be arrive and then this be oasis? So I don't know if I get the right meaning there. Arrive. Yeah, if I put the transitivizer on arrive, what does that become? I feel like that becomes make someone arrive. I don't know. I'll need to ponder that a bit. But we nevertheless have this lovely sentence. Hydratan citridezy. Maybe something like no. Okay, even better. Hydratan C. It arrives at an oasis because C is the third person pronoun for noun class C. Oh, hey, I just noticed. C. That wasn't intentional. Hydratan citridezy. It arrives at an oasis. I don't mind that. I don't mind that one bit. Oh, Max asking how we are going to do commands, imperatives in Biirai. I don't know. Let's figure it out. But I think we need a quick break for YouTube. So YouTube, thanks for joining us. Come back soon and we will do a bit more. Okay. We have what? We have just over 20 minutes. What would be, I don't know, what would be something that you would need to speak this language? How can we make this as functional as possible in the next 20 minutes? I think we might need some more roots. I'm also very happy if you start innovating with Biirai. I'm totally fine with that. We'll canonize it. I think it'll be fun. Tongue, mouth. Okay. I think I need to do a bit of hydrating and stretching myself. Sam, adpositions. Yeah, let's do some adpositions. Okay. Oh, echo. Can we have a descendant of this language develop a root and pattern morphology? Yeah, with consonantal roots. Maybe. But if it does, we have to take it out of the desert because I want to try and avoid making languages similar to Earth languages in similar environments, just because I think it gets a bit samey. So maybe we can have one branch of these languages go out of the desert, and then I would feel more creatively happy to have them develop a root and pattern morphology. All right. Okay, so tense aspect, mood, and adpositions. I think that's good enough for us to go with. I'm going to jump back in because we only have 20 minutes. Oops, nope, wrong thing. This is what I meant to do. YouTube, we are back. We have a bit of work ahead of us. We have only 20 minutes to do it in, so I think we just have to go. Yeah, let's go. So we need to start on some adpositions. So let's look back at our grammar brief. We are going to have prepositions. So we need a few prepositions. I think we need some kind of basic at, in, on style thing, like a locative marker. We can make these, we can break these out as we go, but I think we need a few. We need a to, we need a from. We probably need a with, like a comitative, and we need a with instrumental. I think this should be good. All right, so then let's make these pretty short. What do we have? Let's go one syllable and let's generate and see what we get. I like moon. I like moon. I like maybe something like moon for this instrumental with. Zeke from, I saw that in the chat from Sam. Let's see what else we can do. Let's put ourselves, oops. Maybe something like, who for to. For at, maybe something like try. And for with, maybe something like wa. Ooh, I see zout coming. We need to give that a home. Maybe this can be without. Taga saying make to zra. Zra. All right, why not? Zra. Chorizo, we haven't used g enough. Let's make to gu instead of ku. I'm seeing more suggestions for word shapes. Sitan. Yelent. We don't have any e's. So we could do yai. Yairanti. That's probably the easiest that we can. Girao. Love it. Okay, so we have a few adpositions. We can extend that inventory soon. We wanted to talk about tense, aspect, mood. Now we know from our brief that we don't have tense, no tense, but we do have aspect. We have perfective, imperfective. So how are we going to mark this? I think by default we want imperfective, and we would have a perfective marker. Let's get a one syllable perfective marker. I see chorizo. Yeah, chorizo, I agree. What is not used very much? Let's use it for our perfective marker, shall we? Let's do a CVC for this. Maybe something like war or wan. Yeah, wan. That works. Perfective. And where is this going to be? I think it's going to be sentence initial. So something like if we have a perfective here, I forget what the official, not that there's really any agreement on these things, but I think that's the perfective, the standard, the Leipzig glossing convention for a perfective, I think. Wa naori-san timira. And something like I have protected you. Wan auri-san timira. Sam saying we should have an aspect, like a copula that can give us more nuanced meanings. Let's see. We have one in here somewhere. We have suttun. So we can use that and have it be used in our aspectual system somehow. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Spartius answered Thomas already. For completed actions, regardless of the internal structure. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. Okay. So we have this. Let's play with some of our adpositions. Let's see. let's say the white owl is on a rock. So we have something like, we need a locative verb thingy here. Locative, we have a definite article needed. Owl white. And then on rock. So what do we have here? We have white signy. We have owl siyuri. Siyuri signy. Where's rock? I saw it somewhere around here. There it is. Trusa. So zra trusa. I feel that zra might be a little heavy for our locative. Could we put it down to za? The white owl. Oh, we need the, what's our definite article? Do we have a definite article yet? We don't. I feel like we did. The. No, we don't have it. I love that waduri. Okay, what do we need? We need. Am I missing this? Did we not come up with an article? I feel like we did. Art. Okay. Okay, we have B and Zai. So on so we have the definite owl. Zai siri saini zatrusa. On a rock. Zabitrusa. Zai siuri saini zabitrusa. And then we need Trusa has some connotations for our Scandinavian friends. Well, what can you do? And we need, what are we going to use for this locative verb, this to be at? Do we have anything for that? I don't think we have. Maybe we can use nawa to be used for this. Or maybe we don't need a special locative copula. Maybe we can just have a verb to be, you know. That's been done. Let's put it here. Let's use nawa if Noah doesn't mind. This is what we could use. Nawa zai siuri saini zabitrusa. Nawa zai siuri saini zabitrusa. So I think a language that you giggle every time you hear is not the worst thing in the world. And you'll never forget the word for rock. A tribute to Moon Truther, by the way. Okay, what else do we need? The white owls on a rock. Nawa zai siuri saini za bitrusa. I think I'm coming up to the end of my mental acuity here. I think I might just come talk to you for a few minutes. So I'm really enjoying these. I'm really enjoying this language quite a bit. Am I saying? Is my Norwegian pronunciation unexpectedly good for that one word only? Maybe. Don't read anything into that. I'm just applying the principles of the IPA. Oh wow. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just fold this segment into the last one and just chat for a few minutes. So I'll say goodbye to YouTube here and say thanks for joining us, YouTube. We will see you next time. I hope you've had fun. I've had fun. We've learned that I know more Norwegian and more Swedish than I perhaps thought. All right. So we will see you next time. Okay. Yeah. Fun. I'm enjoying this language. This is a fun one. If I have missed anyone, please let me know, and I will put in your names into the spreadsheet. Let me know on Discord. I think probably the easiest way. So if you're not on Discord, just scoot down there into the description and there's the link. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining today. I'll stick around for a few more minutes just to unwind. I'm very pleased with how this world is developing. Do you want to just take a look at it again? Let's take a look. I'll show you some of the stuff we've been working on. So we have, this is all courtesy of Majahadra, who just headed out. See you next time. We have currents, we have airflow patterns, we have, look at this, we have the climate zones. And then what we did, I'll probably have to zoom in a little. Let's zoom in. You can see that we've gone through and marked down every little climate zone and in some cases some notes about them and where each of our Conlang families is going to be spoken. Oh, Quanti, thank you so much. Oh, that's wonderful. Chorizo, yeah, I'm game. Let's learn it. We can totally alienate. If the Discord ever starts growing too quickly, we just all switch to Biirai and everyone's like, what? What's going on here? So we know roughly where different languages are spoken. So the east coast of continent A, where's the, continent A is this one here. This is all going to be made into a much nicer format soon, don't worry, but this is just a little preview. We know that the east coast of continent A is a Sakrat-speaking zone in the Mediterranean and humid subtropical areas. That's up here. The language Kwak is spoken. And, it goes down through all the different climate zones. Some particular ones have good fishing and things like that. We've got a note for some of the vegetation. And we have some fun things planned. So stick around. We're going to be developing this world, and eventually my hope is that it's going to be an open world with which you can do whatever you want. You can set things in it. You can play around with it yourselves. Yeah, it will be fun. Yes, so think about, ship. Thank you as well for your input into this. I know Majahadra mentioned that you were helping out as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yes, ponder, those who know about these things, and I would be very pleased to hear your thoughts. Otherwise, I think I will bid you all a good day, a good week, a good... Yeah, have you ever noticed how if you wish someone a good day. That's fine. That's totally great. You wish someone a good week. That's also good. It gets a bit weird when you say, have a good month, have a good year. Right? And then it just gets rude. You can say, have a good life. I mean, I will see you again, but, I just wish the whole thing is good. That should be taken as, I think, the well-wishing that it is. Also, if you start making that time frame a little too short, have a good hour. It's like, but you're only wishing me a good hour? What about that? What about after that? I don't know. There's something very curious about this whole thing that I have to get to the bottom of. Okay. I will see you on Discord. Until next time, see you next Tuesday on stream. Same Biirai time, same Biirai channel.